When Oliver moved into his new apartment, he was just grateful to find something affordable and quiet. The building was old, tucked at the edge of town, with peeling paint on the stairwell and a faint smell of mildew in the halls. Still, it felt like a fresh start, until he noticed the man across the street. On the very first night, as Oliver carried the last box into his living room, he glanced out the window and froze. In the building opposite his own, directly across from his apartment, a figure stood perfectly still at the window. A man. He was pale, his face framed by thinning hair, and he was staring straight at Oliver's window. At first, Oliver chuckled. Great. My new neighbor's a people watcher. He pulled the blind shut and went back to unpacking. But later that night, curiosity got the better of him. He peeked through the blinds. The man was still there, same position, same expression. His eyes fixed. Oliver watched him for a full minute, waiting for the inevitable blink. It never came. The next day, Oliver mentioned it to his landlord while signing the last of the paperwork. The landlord just shrugged. Across the street? Oh, you mean Mr. Keller. He's been there for years, keeps to himself. You'll get used to him. Something about the dismissive tone made Oliver uneasy, but he let it go. That evening, as he settled into bed, he noticed something strange. Even with his lights off, a faint glow seemed to follow him. He pulled the curtains tight, but a sliver of light from outside still leaked through. He pushed them aside just enough to peek, and there he was, Mr. Keller, standing in the same spot, eyes locked on Oliver's window. No movement, no blink, just those wide, glassy eyes. Days passed, then weeks, and every night, without fail, Oliver found him there. Sometimes, in the early hours of the morning, if Oliver woke up to get a glass of water, he would glance outside and see Keller still watching. The man never seemed to leave. It began to gnaw at Oliver's sanity. He stopped sitting near the window. He taped cardboard over the glass, then nailed a sheet up when that didn't feel secure enough. Still, he felt the gaze, like invisible fingers brushing the back of his neck. One night, after too many sleepless hours, Oliver's frustration boiled over. He stormed out of his building, crossed the street, and buzzed every apartment until someone let him in. He climbed the stairs, heart hammering, until he reached Keller's door. He knocked. No answer. He knocked again, louder. Then, to his surprise, the door creaked open. Inside, the apartment smelled stale, like damp wood and dust. The air was heavy, suffocating. He stepped inside cautiously. "Mr. Keller?" Oliver's voice cracked. The apartment was bare. No furniture, no belongings, just a thin layer of dust coating the floor. He walked into the living room where Keller's window overlooked Oliver's own apartment, but the room was empty. Oliver's breath caught in his throat. He turned to leave, but something made him glance at the window. His reflection stared back, except it wasn't his reflection. It was Keller, standing inside the glass, his eyes wide, unblinking. Oliver stumbled backward, his chest tight with panic. The window surface rippled, and Keller leaned closer, pressing his pale face against the other side of the glass, as though it were water. His lips moved soundlessly before parting into a smile that was far too wide. Oliver bolted from the apartment, racing down the stairs and across the street to his own home. He slammed the door shut and didn't stop until he was back in his room, gasping for breath. But when he dared to glance at his window, Keller was there again, standing in the opposite building, staring. And this time Oliver noticed something different. The cardboard he had nailed up wasn't there anymore. The sheets he had hung were gone. The window was bare and wide open, and Keller's eyes were no longer across the street. They were inches away.